Our next guest is also a professor here and a grad, Alex Pearce. He's a producer at Jaunt. He's our professor in the intro class, which he taught this summer, which resulted in one of our projects being considered by Sundance. He is one of the guys who knows everything. He can run the camera, he can work in Auto Gigapano, and he's been fantastic because in our classes, in the intro classes and the advanced classes, we have students from all backgrounds, from animation to special effects to gaming. Every single school is learning virtual reality because all these live action assets in 360 can be moved into any kind of software and engine. So, Alex, tell us what's going on in the world of Jaunt.
Thanks, James. Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you, James. Thanks to all of our speakers. We really have an excellent panel here. But you know, the thing I'm most excited about is for you guys to see the demos, some of the student work. I think you'll be very excited to see it. So I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet. But I do want to encourage you guys to, if you haven't already taken the introductory class, then you should definitely take it. Even if you have no interest in VR, even if you aren't going to do it as a career, I think you'll learn a lot of things about the technology, more so about storytelling is really what the first class is about. It's all about storytelling. So even if you're going to go into a totally different field, you know, VR, AR, immersive studies, they really are going into every single industry. So having a base knowledge of that is going to do some good, and you might decide like, hey, I want to make this a career, and you can go further in the program. But even if you don't, just knowing like, oh yeah, I know how to do this, I know how to do that, I understand this thing, and also you would know colleagues who might end up working in the industry or whatever. And I think that right now is the best time to get in the industry, and there's so many opportunities out there. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get through this so we can get to the thing. So I am not Brooke Chapman, but I'll pretend like I am for a second. No, I'm just kidding. She's running a little late. She will be here. If not by the end of this, she'll definitely be in the demos. She's bringing a camera. I'll show you a video about the camera. She works in our Palo Alto office. I work in Santa Monica. Palo Alto is mostly our engineer team, software team. The Santa Monica office is the studio. So that's where we make all the content.
So Jaunt ONE's the first professional-grade VR camera system designed from the ground up for capturing 360 3D video. The per-module image quality you get is gorgeous. You get great low-light performance, you get great performance outdoors, and it's an easy-to-use workflow.
We started very early on, 3 years ago, and we actually started building our first camera out of Lego blocks and GoPros. And we had to prove to ourselves that it was possible to build a camera like this. We then ended up buying off-the-shelf components, building our first sort of prototypes, and it worked. So eventually we ended up designing our own camera system from the ground up, electronics, optics, mechanical, everything. We engaged with a Lunar Design in San Francisco, and we had lots of brainstorming meetings about what the camera should look like. And I told them one thing, I gave them one piece of a direction. I said, it's got to look badass. The Jaunt ONE is the best VR camera on the market today. It's designed to have high frame rate, high dynamic range, high reliability, specifically designed for 360-degree VR experiences.
The construction is just so professional that we put it on dollies, we put it on
there's Brooke.
We put it on camera cars, and everybody that's gotten their hands on it to rig it is really excited about how easily they can just drop it into the scene that they need.
It's composed of 24 individual modules that are all high-quality global shutter image sensors, and they're all synchronized, so all 24 cameras fire at the same time. You get depth from your image in all directions, so as you're viewing it in a VR environment, you see things in 3D.
One of the great things about shooting with the Jaunt camera in the field is that it doesn't look like a spaghetti farm. It's one ball, everything fits underneath, you can move it very easily, you can transport it easily, you can shoot with it easily. For all intents and purposes, it's one cable, just power. Other than that, you have sound, but the sound is movable depending on how you want to do with wireless or whatever. So really, it's a single cable for power.
We did not compromise in the mechanical design, we did not compromise in the image sensor, and we did not compromise in putting scientific resources to figuring out what is the best way to get that image going through the pipeline.
I think when talking to other content creators, one of the main things to point out is the pipeline that Jaunt offers. Being able to shoot your footage, get it offloaded, put it in the cloud, get it stitched, and get your dailies down quickly is extremely important.
Along with the camera, we have a number of tools that help you set up the camera, organize all the data coming off of it, and then upload it to our cloud rendering service, which is a huge part of what Jaunt does. That automatically takes all 24 views and uses complex computational photography algorithms to combine those views together in a seamless way. And it's something we're doing automatically, so you don't have to go in and do manual stitching, which is what a lot of users have had to do with rigs that they've put together.
It also has a really compelling accessory software that it pairs up with, which offers things like live preview, so you can actually look at what you're trying to film. It has things like remote firmware updates and maintenance modes, so that you can actually connect back to the Jaunt servers to get pushed for any kind of firmware updates. You can also set up more complicated workflows when you want to do exposure adjustments and you want to do very fine-tuned stuff. You can use the Jaunt controller paired up with your camera and configure those shots for yourself.
One of our design requirements was the ability to surface the rig in under.
All right, that's enough of that. So the camera's awesome. Camera's very cool. You know, the thing for me that separates this camera from most camera systems is the stereo. They didn't really even get to that in the video. It's sort of like a side thought, but you know, the 3D aspect, which I mean, it really separates it to a whole nother level. So you definitely have to check out some Jaunt footage. We do have one real Oculus Rift set up in the back. We'll be playing some different footage from that. But even on your Google Cardboard, you can go and check out the app, and you can watch some content. It's a big difference between mono and stereo. Of course, I would say that I'm from the company. Let's see. I'm going to skip through some of these so we can get to our next big event. So we are a VR company with roots in Silicon Valley. It's really, that to me is what makes Jaunt really special, is that it is a tech company and a film studio, and somehow that works. And it's really, you know, it can be very challenging at times, because in the studio we're going, well, you know, hey guys, engineers, we need this, we need this, and this. And they're going, well, no, you don't need that, you need this, you need this. And we're going, no, we want that. But it's really amazing to work. My background is filmmaking, and it's really amazing to work with a team where you go, hey, we need higher frame rate. And they go, okay, give us a few months, we'll have 120 frames per second. And we have 120 frames per second now, you know. I mean, it's really incredible to have that company from end to end. So 3 main types of VR: 360 video, cinematic VR, which is what Jaunt specializes in, and then VR gaming. Talk about our technology a little bit. So the platform is the other thing that makes Jaunt unique from other systems. You can have, you know, there's some great camera systems out there where you can shoot and stitch and do this, that, and the other. But from end to end, we can do everything, from the camera to the cloud-based post-production. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Our students in the advanced class learn how to stitch, and it's a very fun process. If my students are in here, they can all attest, right? There's no banging your head against the monitor as you're trying to fix this stuff, right? And it can be time-consuming. It adds a whole nother level to post-production. If you're taking normal film, you have the exact same steps in post-production, but then you add at least 2 different passes of stitching. You have like a quick stitch, it's sort of like an offline edit, and then you have to go back and do a fine stitch before you do your final edit. So it adds a lot of time to post-production, and it can be, depending on what was shot and how it was shot, it can be very time-intensive. So with the Jaunt system, you literally upload all this stuff to the cloud, and then you get back all your files. There's no manual stitching. There's no, oh crap, this camera did this. No, it's all automatic. And the other great thing about that is you don't necessarily need, the most amazing computer. All you really need is, fast internet speed. If you can get fast internet speed, you can download it and you can do it on a MacBook Pro, which is pretty incredible. Jaunt also has a content platform, and what's the cool thing about that is we release on all the major platforms. So if you have on iOS, there's an iOS app, there's an Android app, there's a Gear VR app, there's a PlayStation VR app coming out soon. There's, any of the platforms, Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, we're going to be creating apps for all of those things. So, and multi-channel distribution. So for the most part, all the content goes through the studio, but there are opportunities for content creators such as yourself to get on our platform, even if you didn't shoot with the Jaunt camera. Okay, works with existing pipelines, as we said. We're also introducing other cameras. So the Nokia Ozo is, when on Deepak's slide, it was the one at the far left that was $60,000. So we offer cloud-based stitching for the Nokia Ozo, and I think we will for future cameras as well. Okay, proven in production. We have a bunch of glamour shots here from some of the productions we've done. There's a lot of productions that we've done that either have not aired publicly or have not aired yet. And it's always a balancing act of, when people say, "What are you doing?" to go, "I'll tell you in a year." but it's very exciting. We got a lot of great opportunities. So this is sort of an idea of what the modules, individual modules, look like before they're all stitched together. All right. Here's Brooke. Okay, I'm done. Thank you. No, I'm just kidding.
Thanks for warming them up for me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Hi, everybody. I'm Brooke Chapman. I'm a production supervisor at Jaunt. Sorry about the tardiness, but traffic. Everybody forgets how to drive when it rains. So I'll get up to speed. You keep going.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're getting towards the end of it. So.
Okay. Perfect timing.
So this is what our app looks like if you put the headset on or if you have your own phone. This would be sort of the launch pad you'd see, and you can go into different categories to see different types of content.
Mm-hmm. We have a team of artists in Palo Alto that actually designs all of the lobbies. They work in Unity for that, and they're some pretty talented VFX artists and graphics artists, their background mainly. So. Oh, man, distribution, everybody's favorite part. So the end-to-end part of Jaunt is the fact that we can actually go on every platform that's available right now. The fact that we can be in Cardboard, be on YouTube, we have our own app for Gear, for iPhones, everything. It just means that it's more than accessible. You can view it in a web browser, which is great. That's my mom's biggest thing. She can watch it on her browser. It's VR. But we also are on Facebook 360. They're sort of opening up all of the platforms now, so it's more universal, and you don't just have to publish through one stream. So. Mm-hmm. We work with a lot of big brands. That's the thing. Some of our more notable content. We have all of our North Face Nepal stuff. We've worked with North Face on 2 different projects in this production company, Camp 4. They mainly do travel and adventure stuff. And we've been lucky enough to also partner with them on the Home Turf series, which is pretty awesome. We used our GoPro rig for that one. It was shot over a year ago, but the footage is pretty compelling. It's on drones, flying over sketchy Andy as he slacklines across some ridiculous valley, and it's pretty cool. So we also do a lot of concerts, as you guys can tell. Paul McCartney was our first big piece that we released over 2 years ago, and we've sort of followed in the footsteps of wanting to pursue those big best seat in the house for the concerts.
Mm-hmm. ABC News is one of our partners, and they have their own channel. They've been doing a lot of great work. And they continuously publish their own work. So I know we have a lot of communication students in here. Mm-hmm. There's definitely some great pieces to go check out from ABC News.
Mm-hmm. Premium content. So a couple months ago we released, or last month we released the Invisible series, which is from director Doug Liman. You may know him from The Bourne Identity, but he had a huge interest to get into VR, like a lot of folks do, coming from Hollywood these days, and he actually committed to it. A lot of folks get scared real quick once they realize what goes into it, and he was totally game for the challenge, so he really approached it as, and we have a video clip you guys can see this in, but he approached it as rethinking every single step, every single creative decision that he had to make. He had to think about it completely differently, and it's something that he was up for. So we can probably show that.
Yeah, I think we might. James, are we? How are we on time?
Perfect.
So we got 2-minute video. All right, we'll show you the video by. She already built up the suspense, so.
Okay, showing. One of the things we're really committed
That's
to
Doug
here
Liman.
is creating something whose existence in VR is justified. He's here. So you're taking off the Steadicam, so you got to act against this. What the hell? Gets thrown back by something invisible. The tree, everything, and it's just there's something here. So you're taking your timing off that. The thing about working with actors in VR is they're never off camera, and it's the thing you got to keep reminding them. Because a lot of times they'll sort of walk over here and then just stop, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I know you don't have any more dialogue, but if the audience chooses to turn around there, they're going to see you just standing there. Like, you're never, until you've left the building, you're in the scene.
Where you normally look and see where the camera's looking and then make sure you have life. Here we don't know where the audience is going to be looking, so you just got to keep it alive.
For life here, here,
And here.
Okay. I mean, I did a scene yesterday where we had 4 simultaneous dialogue scenes happening at the exact same time, and trying to figure out how you even begin to direct that. And they all have to work, and they all, because you don't know which one the audience is going to be looking at. When the audience watches the show, and when it's all put together, they'll only get the audio for the characters they're looking at. You can't actually know where they're going to be looking at any given moment, because there is actually cool stuff to be seen here and here and here and here.
Thanks, everybody.
I think Doug Liman just told you some of the new challenges that directors are facing, and that's why the intro class is so interesting, because you get to be inside that virtual reality world. Jess Angle, who I just was spending time with in Los Angeles, she runs Chris Melk's company. You guys know Chris Melk? He's like the grandfather. He's like, all VR, and he's a graduate from the Academy of Art, and he's leading edge in terms of what's going on in VR. And Jess Angle said to me before she would meet with a director, any director, she puts them in the headset and makes them see at least 5 or 6 pieces, so they know what it's like to be inside this world where everywhere you look, however up or down, something's going on. And so you as directors, you as creators, you as production designers, actors, whatever part of the production you're part of, you have to start thinking differently about the space that you're creating in. So it's really important. One of the first things we did, thanks to Mr. Ken Farrow, sitting right over there, I said to him, Ken, we got to get into immersive technology. We got to start making films immersive. Let's get to Rico Theta. So within like 3 weeks, we had a Rico Theta. Ken had it set up, and we did a behind the scenes at one of our student films, and it just changed everything. It really gave us a sense, thanks to his visionary work in the cinematography department, we have now moved as quickly as possible into cinematic storytelling with all kinds of top cameras. We had the Jaunt. Brooke, where are you? Brooke came to class. Watch out, your mind is going to be fried. She is one of the most brilliant technologists. She is just extraordinary. And to have her in our class and to have the Jaunt camera with us and to hear all the possibilities of it, I don't think our students could have asked for a better professor with the most important new technology coming on. And we really want to thank you for your support for our school, our Department of Cinematography, and Alex for dragging you down to our classroom. Thank you. Let's give her a round of applause for Brooke and Alex. Also, sitting in the audience tonight, that's one of the great things about this university, is the kind of top people that we're attracting to our program, is Natalie Mate, who will be standing up for us. She actually is one of the top post-production VR people in probably the country. She was a beta tester for Nuke. She's going to be teaching a class in CAR, if we can get it through the books fast enough. This is the kind of people, when I was at the CARA presentation last night in Los Angeles, everybody, when I said I'm at the Academy of Art University, oh, I know students of yours. Yes, definitely. Let me know. We have internships. There are so many possibilities opening up in post-production. And the cameraman was complaining that, that nobody understood that, work is going on behind. Find me directors who can direct in VR. So this is an incredible, we're at the very beginning of something extremely exciting, whatever your field of interest. So take this opportunity to work with these professionals, because I can guarantee you very few other universities in the country have access to these type of brilliant minds.